The river that trades memories. Patana came to the riverbank when the world became too quiet. Not the quiet of peace, but the hollow, echoing quiet of a house where a laugh once lived. Her brother, Teos, was gone a year now, and with him the vivid technicolor memory of his face. It had faded like an old photograph left in the sun until all she could grasp were fragments, the feel of his hand pulling hers, the echo of his nickname for her, Lark, but not the specific timbre of his voice. She heard the stories, of course. Everyone in the village of Mnemosyne did. The River Mneme gives something back each time it takes something. They were warned as children not to play too close, not to let their minds wander while watching its shimmering silver-blue current. But warnings calcify into temptation when you are empty. So on the anniversary, Patana went. She knelt on the cool, mossy stones and looked into the water. It didn't reflect the sky or the willow trees. Instead, it swirled with faint, cloudy shapes, a flicker of a kite, the blur of a dancing figure, the impression of a birthday cake with smudged candles. "Please," she whispered, her voice swallowed by the river's gentle murmur. "I just want to see him, one clear memory." She dipped her fingertips into the water. It was neither cold nor warm, but it tingled. A sudden, visceral image rose, unbidden and perfect. Teos at 7, missing 2 front teeth, presenting her with a clumsily woven dandelion crown on her 5th birthday. She felt the scratchy stems, saw the proud light in his eyes, heard his lisp, "For my queen, Lark!" Tears of joy streamed down her face. It was back. It was whole. Then the water around her fingers darkened. The tingling became a gentle, pulling suction. And as the memory crystallized in her mind, another one slipped from its moorings and dissolved into the current. It was the memory of the scent of her mother's lavender soap, the specific comfort of it when she was sick. It didn't vanish entirely, but it became a fact, not an experience. She knew her mother used lavender soap, but she could no longer smell it, could no longer feel the cool cloth on her forehead that went with it. The river had taken its price. Patana pulled her hand back, shocked. It was true. It gave and it took. A trade. A part of her recoiled, but the vivid, living memory of Teos's dandelion crown was a fire in her chest, warming the hollow places. It was worth it, wasn't it? She returned the next day, and the next. Each visit was a bargain. She traded the memory of her first kiss, a clumsy, sweet affair, for an afternoon of building a blanket fort with him during a thunderstorm, their shared laughter tight and safe against the rain. She grew skilled at choosing what to offer. She gave up mundane memories, the layout of a trading post she no longer visited, the plot of a forgotten novel, the face of a casual acquaintance. The river accepted these, but it gave smaller returns in kind, a snippet of Teos's whistling, the pattern on his favorite socks. The economy of the river was exacting. The more precious the memory she sought, the more precious the price had to be. Her life became a ledger. She was rich in Teos, but she was impoverishing herself. She forgot the taste of her grandmother's blackberry pie, the feeling of triumph of winning her first poetry contest, the opening notes of her father's favorite song. Her past was becoming a biography of someone else, centered on a single glowing chapter. One evening, she went to the river desperate. She had given so much, but the memory she truly wanted, the last conversation they had, an argument about him leaving the village, remained fogged by guilt and grief. She needed to hear his last words to her, to know if they were angry or loving. She plunged her whole hand in. "I want our last talk, the truth of it." The river surged. It showed her. Teos, packed bag by the door, his face earnest. "The world is bigger than this river, Lark. Come with me." Her own face stubborn, afraid. "It's a foolish dream. Stay." And his final sad smile. "I'll write every week. I love you, silly lark." He'd written. The argument hadn't been the end. The relief was a tidal wave, but the river's pull was ferocious. It wasn't asking for a single memory anymore. It was thirsty. Patana felt a foundational stone of her own self begin to loosen. It took the knowing. Not a specific event, but the deep internal knowledge of who she was, Patana, the sketcher, the daydreamer, the girl who loved mud pies and star charts. It was the core memory of self. It didn't vanish, but it muted, like a vibrant painting covered in gray gauze. She stumbled back from the bank, gasping, her mind both full of Teos and terrifyingly void of her. In despair, she returned to the river one final time, not to trade, but to accuse. She stood on the bank weeping. "You took too much. You gave him back, but you stole me." The river flowed, implacable. In its shimmering surface, she saw not her own reflection, but a montage, not just of Teos, but of herself through his eyes. She saw a tiny, fierce girl defending him from a bully with a wooden spoon. She saw her own 10-year-old face concentrated, mending the wing of his toy glider. She saw herself at 16 laughing, throwing flour at him during a baking disaster. She saw the love and pride in his eyes as he watched her accept an art award. The river wasn't just showing her Teos, it was giving back what it had woven from the very memories it had taken. It had traded the isolated, solitary, sharp fragments of a life and returned them as a tapestry of connection. It didn't take to deprive, it took to weave. Patana sat by the river until the moon rose. She felt the mudded sense of self the river had taken begin to return, not as it was, but softer, wiser, interwoven with the love she now held in a dual perspective, hers and his. She finally understood. The River Mneme didn't just trade memories, it traded loneliness for connection, isolation for a shared story. It took the raw ore of singular experience and returned the polished gem of understood love. She stood, her legs stiff, and turned her back on the shimmering current. She walked home not to an empty house, but to one now populated by a more complete, more compassionate ghost. She had lost the scent of lavender soap forever, but in its place she carried the unshakable knowledge of how it felt to be her brother's queen. And that, the river had taught her, was the trade that ultimately mattered.